Welcome back to Cephas Unscripted. Robin, my man, we've been blessed with a Rassie Erasmus squad announcement. And since it's Heritage Day, he decided to cook with it. But before we do that, how have you been? What have you been up to the past week?
Yeah, paddle again. As the viewers know, myself and Casual love a cheeky game of paddle. He's yet to beat me, um, which is strange because he's been putting in the work apparently there in Belleville. But he's
Not
got
from
a long way
Belleville.
to go if he wants to beat me. But other than that, just been super chilled. Obviously, no international or Springbok rugby this past weekend. The women's rugby was quite entertaining. So that was good to watch, especially that New Zealand Canada game. I felt that was some like amazing level rugby. And then yeah, just excited to be back. It's been a week since we've done a pod, and we get to chat about Rassie Erasmus Tuesday team drop.
Yeah,
Um, and
as
yeah,
per usual. Yeah. What is that podcast that you've got running there in the background?
no, that's just our live podcast. You can't see because it's blurred. But if you guys haven't seen yet, myself and Casual do an all-time Springbok 15. So check out that and then leave your comments. But
We'll
yeah,
have
it's
to do one of
just
those
got
soon
us in the
again.
background.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
have we've been slacking on those. Whoops a daisy. Anyway, we refuse to talk about the paddle because you're a cheater. We're back again. Rassie Erasmus has announced his team to take on Argentina in Durban. Robin, we don't like what Rassie said in terms of after the Wellington game. He said this is just a team that played today, and we're like, no, we want to see this team play more often, and he's decided to do that. Right, a couple of changes, but it kind of feels like injury changes, and we have to talk about it. Now, first and foremost, before we get into the nitty gritty of the team, I want to ask you because you've brought up the bomb squad before. Does this feel like the passing of the torch where we said, okay, we're going to scrap the 6-2 split that's been doing us so well? It, not that teams have figured us out, but it hasn't had the impact that it's always had. And we're going with a 5-3 split that could be seen as a 6-2 with the way that Andre Esterhuizen is playing off the bench. We can slot into a Lucy position or come in as a center. Do you think that this is the way that we want to go with a 5-3 split? Let's say at least for the till the end of this year, after we've played England, France, Ireland, the likes of those teams up north.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the bomb squad, look, we haven't seen it for some time now. I think the last time we implemented that, myself and you were watching the game at Brauhaus, Eden on the Bay, and we had a whole rant about the bomb squad. Um, so it's interesting now we're back at 5-3. You know, times have changed for South African rugby, and we're going back to what most rugby fans are used to. But I don't see it always being like this. We must remember that we've got injuries, Cameron Honeycombs, Ulrich Lowe's, and if you've got players like that are coming back into the mix, you can definitely see a time where Rassie might implement that bomb squad again because those are some crucial players. That doesn't mean to say I don't think we've got the players to do a bomb squad, but those guys are young. Um, they still got a lot of rugby ahead, and they'll be super keen coming off a bench in a bomb squad. So yeah, overall happy with the team though and how it looks, and yeah, let's get straight into it.
Yeah, starting off 1, 2, 3, we've got Ox the Steamroller and Chim, Malcolm Marks, and Thomas the Tank the Toy. What's your opinion on some of the people saying that they wouldn't have been surprised if Ox didn't play, seeing that he needs a break?
Yeah, I mean, there might be a few players that need a little bit of a break. I know some of the backline guys have got a break. Cheslin starting another game as well. He's crucial to our team, but with all the injuries that we have at wing at the moment, he's also, and we saw in the last game, he looked like he had a couple niggles here and there. Uh, so it's interesting, but I mean, he's playing in his home stadium, so
Yeah.
they probably want him to be starting, and he is back on form. I am hoping for a bit more dominance from him when it comes to the scrums, like we see when Volko comes on. But overall games and his carries, I'm super happy for him that he's getting this regular game time. And let's hope that he doesn't burn out before the end of
No,
the
he
year.
was fine. He was fine. He anyway just got a week off. Right, all of these guys just had a week off. They could relax a bit. They could see their family, and now it's back to business. The international window is this long, right? And most people will tell you that's not very long. Depends who you're talking to. Um, Anyway, so no, you just had a week off. You'll be fine. I'm sure you'll get a couple of game weeks off when the URC starts as well. I reckon he'll probably miss like the first 4, 5, 6 games even in the URC, and then he'll go back in. Malcolm Marks just getting back onto form again. The Malcolm that we love and adore. That's how it's felt like the past 2 games. I would say if kind of fixed the lineouts in the last game. I want to see him continue with the lineout success in this game coming up. Because obviously, when it comes to the physical dominance, we talk about scrum and we talk about lineouts. But the first thing that you have to do is win your lineout, and Malcolm's obviously a key factor to that. And Thomas the Tank Toy, he's been amazing for Bath, and it's been great since he's been playing for the Box and got some regular game time. Um, Very happy that we've kept that combination. I wouldn't have changed it at all. We've got a massive job on our hands. I can't see us really playing the fully structured game where we just go to blow them out off the park physically, but we still want to get that front football when we go out wide and those type of things. And the forwards will have a massive job to do. Do you reckon that pack that just does the job?
Uh, yeah, look, first things first, set piece. Argentina have a good set piece. This is well known. Um, I think out of all the nations in this rugby championship, they're going to front up the most when it comes to set piece. They've got a good scrum, they've got a good line out, they compete well at the line out. So, but I think that starting front row can definitely do it. I'm hoping Malcolm is on the mark with his throw-ins and all the synergies there with the jumpers. Having a guy like Eben come back into the team as well will bring a bit of calmness. So yeah, I think those boys can definitely put in a shift.
Yeah, fully agree. As you mentioned, Eben Etzebeth, Ruan Orkia. Ruan Orkia has kind of just made that number 5 jersey his own. He's been brilliant ever since he's taken that jersey. It kind of feels at the moment like we've got a young Franco Mostert, and I've always loved Franco Mostert. He's always been a great advocate for our team, like your typical workhorse that gets around the park. But we just have a younger version of him now. Do you feel like the discussion has been had with Frank to say, listen, maybe take a back seat for a bit because Ruan Orkia is doing a job, and you can't really see him losing his place to the likes of Franco Mostert, because RG Snyman's kind of got that lock on the bench on lockdown, and then Lore Jager and Eben's fighting out for that 4 jersey. Do you feel like when you look at the locks, he's kind of the it name, and the other positions are just kind of having to be filled around him?
Yeah, no, Ruan Nokia at the moment is playing some exceptional rugby. You mentioned work rate. That's the number one thing that jumps to mind, and that's something that Sos, was known for. Um, so personally, I think Ruan is definitely cementing his place in that lock position, and I'm happy for him. A lot smaller than the locks that we have in this country, a lot smaller than other international locks, but boy, he pulls his weight.
Yeah.
Like he gets around the park, he's always there as an assist. He's making his tackles. He even carries well, and yeah, great to see him get given more game time. And I'd like to see how him and Eben match up this weekend as a lock pairing.
Yeah. Looking at our Lucy's, no surprises with Sia, Pirestev to tackle, and Jasper. But I kind of want to bring a point up to you because we've seen the kind of the changing of the guard in certain positions. When you look at Bongi Manambi not being picked, Vincent Koch not being picked, Franco Mostert, as we just said, not being picked. Where it's the keep that in. It's the younger generation being picked. Keep this bit in. I want people to see why I keep laughing as soon as I get in.
Right. Bro, just
That's the
keep talking.
camera.
Sorry, guys. That's sometimes the camera glitches,
Anyway,
and then the
um,
MacBooks.
do you reckon? Let's say if Cameron Hanekom and Ulrich Loh comes back like they were before injury,
Yes,
how
yes.
long do
I
you
agree. I
think
agree.
until they get blended into this team where it's just like, okay, they taking over maybe that 6 and 7 jersey? Not that Sia needs to give way or Peter Steph needs to give way, but those two guys were kind of, I couldn't see a Springbok team without them the way that they were playing.
Sorry. Yeah. Look. Yeah. Last game, exceptional. You know what you're going to get with Peter Steph the toy. Um, but likewise, those guys coming back into the team, it makes it interesting. I think it also brings a competitiveness to the team in those positions. I wouldn't say we light in those positions, but there's definitely room for a bit of growth and youth and hunger. And I think those boys coming back from injury can bring that. So it's going to be interesting. We see how one simple injury in a position can change up the
Yeah.
entirety of a season for the Bok team in terms of who gets picked and stuff. So seeing Cami and Ulrich get back into the mix will be good. Do I think they'll go straight into the starting lineup? Probably not, but they'll definitely be added to this force that the Boks and this momentum that we're taking after that New Zealand game and
Yeah,
hopefully into
yeah.
the rest of the Rugby
Because
Championship.
I look at the impact that Elrich Low had last season when we didn't have eights either, and he took that eight role and he was brilliant, and he's been brilliant for the Bulls. Obviously, got a long-term injury that kept him out for the second half of the season. But I'm expecting him to be firing on all cylinders when he comes back, and the same with Cameron Hanekom. Everyone was expecting a massive box season for him, right? Like it was kind of, I wouldn't say a given, but everyone knew that Jasper Wiese is not going to be available, and it's kind of opened that gap for either Cameron Hanekom or Troki, Jono Augustus, to take that eight jersey, and unfortunately both of them got injured. So I'm just wondering, with Jasper, the way that he played at Wellington, he was brilliant. As he closed that door off for the two guys like that. That's why I kind of referenced Sia Kolisi and Peter Steph. As I said, it doesn't look like they're aging, but at some point, age will kick in. And then we might see a Cameron Hanekom at 6, Ulrich Low at 7, maybe Vincent Chichuka at 7, and then you can have a Troki or Jasper fighting for that 8 jersey. That is sexy. That is depth. And that is young guys coming through. That should be scary for any team to face. 9-10 combo will also be the Stormers combo. I'm excited to see what they do in this season that's coming up. Thoughts on Sasha and Reinach? Obviously, they started 2 weekends ago, but Sasha getting injured with an HIA, but he looked great before he went off. You excited to see what they do? Do you think that Argentina could be the perfect fit for them?
Yeah, the Stormers duo. Interesting to see. I'm interested to see how that works for the Stormers. But we're talking about the box right now. Reinach thought he had a good game against New Zealand, couple knock-ons, but you could see the urgency was there, and that's probably hence why he had so many knock-ons. Scrum off, you touch the ball the most in the team, so there's more chance of you making errors, especially at the pace at which we were playing at times. Um, with Marnie, running the show. When it comes to Sasha, I want to see him a bit more relaxed. I understand that he wants to show his abilities like he has for the Stormers, um, but he's throwing himself into the defense, and we don't need that for a fly off. I'm all down for a fly off that has the ability to front up physically, and I think out of all the fly offs, he probably does that the best. With Pollard coming in a close second, but there's no need for him to be running in and trying to make massive hits. He's playing alongside Damien Dialindi, might bring a bit more calmness to his game with someone that's so experienced. Allow those guys to take the front when it comes to defensive dominance. That doesn't mean slip off tackles or anything like that. Like still make your defensive efforts, but focus on your job. Be the coordinator in the back line, and just play the game that you're known for and bring the magic.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Do you reckon that the way that Argentina play defensively suits Sasha very nicely? Because that's what's clicking in my head. Because I'm not writing off Argentina, but if I look at the way that they play, it plays into his hands. I was so impressed by the way that Australia looked as soon as I got that ball wide um, against Argentina. Do you, that just feels like Sasha written all over it. Even Mani, with the fact that Sasha has got that individual brilliance that he can use, but also as soon as he spreads the ball, it just feels like something could happen at any time.
Yeah, no, for sure. What I will say first is Sasha needs to get the fundamentals correct first. So how I see this going, we're going to put obviously pressure in the air again. We saw how well that worked against New Zealand. Argentina are a great threat in the air, and they've got some really good aerial players in their team. So he needs to be putting up some great contestables, looking for field possession, making sure we're on the front foot. I want to see the entire team dominant when it comes to taking the ball up, because once those are set, we can then go into our more expansive game, um, and then the game will open up, and Sasha will be able to do what he's known for. But if he's going to try that from the get go, it might punish him. I think he must play the long game, do his fundamentals, and make sure the team comes first in regards to how dominant we are on attack, and that physical aspect. And then afterwards, when we start breaking down this Argentinian defense, like we saw in that Australian game, then we can start swinging it wide and doing some of the fancy shit.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Looking at the centre pairing, you've got Damien Dialina, almost said Mani Lubbock, Kanan Moody. And what it screams to me is I like the balance, right? With the experience of a Kobus Reinach, with the wild animal, as we call Sasha, the generational talent. You've got that experience pairing. Then you've got Kanan Moody, who's kind of still new to that 13 jersey, but you've got Damien Dialinda. So it's like experience, talent. The balance of it just feels great. Even when you look at the wingers, Cheslin Colby and Ethan Hooker. That's what I appreciate about this team. Do you like the balance of that, or do you think, let's say, if Fassi was still fine, you would have liked to have seen Damien Willemse slot into that 12 jersey again?
I think we possibly would have seen it, if Fassi was still fit. I think Rassi is rewarding these players for their performance against New Zealand, and you know it's a no-brainer to reward a team that was so successful to put on a record performance against New Zealand in the fashion that they did. But you can see little spots where he's just added some experience, some calmness, and I think that's very good to see. So having Damien Dealindi in there next to Kanan Moody, slightly different game to Damien Willemse, more robust, more head on. I think that'll allow Kanan to sort of do his thing with a bit more. Kalen's got a bit more razzle dazzle to him. He likes these. One of his weaker points, I would say, is his defensive side. But when he does get it right, he makes some dominant tackles in that 13 jersey. So hopefully, with the likes of Damien Dealindi next to him, they can be a bit more cohesive on the defensive side of things. And yeah, I'm keen to see what they can do together. I don't think they've matched together quite frequently in the past.
No, but I think they were the center combination on the first big win that we got on against New Zealand at Twickenham right before the
Uh,
World Cup.
was it not Andre?
It could have been Andre. I'm speaking under correction, but the thing is, if you look back at that Eden Park test, I thought Damien Dialinde was one of our standout players. He's always been one of our standout players. And as I just mentioned, with you need the physical upper hand and then swinging it wide, and then the damage can be caused. If you think about it, getting that first ball out to the back line, Damien Dearlinde takes about 2, 3 players with him, and then you're getting it out wide for Damian Willemse to switch into a creative role, or even Sasha with the likes of Caden Moody, Chesney Colby, Ethan Uko, all love running the ball. That could be a great recipe for success. Like, I can see how something like that works brilliantly. And as you mentioned, defensively as well, Damian Dearlinde with the experience can kind of give Kanan Moody that guidance if he needs anything. I was very impressed by Kanan's defense against the All Blacks, because they didn't really look that threatening. But do you give that as credit to your outside center's defensive work rate?
Mm.
Surely at some stage you have to do that. Um, Ethan Hooker, very impressed with his debut. We're sitting in this position where we heard Rassi before all the game started saying, "Okay, I see Ethan Hooker as a center more than a wing." Well, now we've got a problem, right? Because Andre Esterhuizen's playing out of his boots. Damien Dearlinde is not going anywhere. You've obviously still got Jesse Creel, Kanan Moody. Do you still see Ethan Hooker playing as a center, or do you think he's kind of put his name in the hat now as a wing? And I have to remind you, we still have Edwin van der Merwe, we still have Kurt Arendse, and we've got a bunch of youngsters still coming through. Cheswell Jooster, Lorenzo Julius, all those guys kind of more so fighting for wing positions. Do you think at some point we'll see him at center, or for now he's just got to focus on playing on the wing?
Well, it's interesting because he plays for a franchise that has so many centers already, and he's playing wing. So I think Rassi would probably like to see him play for the Sharks in that center position more often.
He
You've got
deserves to,
Lorenzo.
though.
Sorry.
He deserves to, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
he definitely deserves to. But you got Lorenzo Julius there at the Sharks. You've got Lecanio. It's a tough position for a coach to be in when you've got so many opportunities and players to play in different positions. I'd like to see him at center. He's a big boy. I saw a photo of him next to Ches and Colby, and I was like, "Sure, these wings are on different diets." But yeah, look, he played very well at wing. We spoke about his aerial game, his defense. Whenever he got the ball and took it up, it was dominant. It wasn't I get tackled now place. He went over the game line every time. So
Yeah.
it's good to see from the young lad. I'm hoping that this game does him justice and he gets more ball, especially in that first half. Even if it's not in open space, just give the guy the ball to allow him to get his confidence, especially at international level and taking the ball up into contact as a winger. We've got Ches and Colby for that razzle dazzle sidestep. Now we need some brute force. And I think Ethan Hooker brings that to the table.
Yeah, and then obviously to round off the starting 15, Damien Willems at fullback. It was all but confirmed before today. Obviously, Willie came in, but we all knew it was just for early week training sessions. He'll be joining up with the Bulls again, if I'm not mistaken. Fassi is out injured, so we all kind of knew the best player in the world is going to be playing at 15. 5-3 split. We spoke about that earlier. Jan Hendrik Wessels in as the hooker replacement with Bone Venter, Boan Venter, and Volko Low. And I kind of want to ask you, does that kind of confirm that Bongi Manambi has to take a backseat? We've spoke about his performances before. Um, he's been a great advocate for us, but does it feel like, okay, we're focusing on Jan Hendrik Wessels as a hooker replacement? The same goes for Marinus van der Merwe, because remember, you also have to add Johan Grobler at some point, who's been brilliant with the Bulls. Do we say, okay, Bongi's taking a backseat now, and we actively looking for hooker replacements?
Yeah, look, it seems like that. Jan Hendrik Wessels, young guy, he's younger than me, and I think you as well.
He's my age.
Your age. Um, so he's still got a lot of rugby to go, and I was very impressed with him when he came on 2 weeks ago. So Yeah, it seems that way. It seems Bongi is, I wouldn't say getting flushed out the system. There's still opportunity for him there, but he's going to have to put in the work. Maybe have a couple good games for the Sharks in the future, and maybe we can see him back in there. He just seemed a bit off pace when we were playing him. But I'm happy that the new generation of hookers are getting their flowers and getting a chance. And I think he's the type of player to relish relish that. Um, he looks like a competitive guy. We saw in the Chasing the Sun documentary how much he means to the team.
Yeah.
So if the team's doing well, I'm sure he'll be happy for the guys that are stepping in there above him.
Yeah. RG Snyman, Quagga Smith, no real surprises there. Grant Williams, for anyone that didn't know, is not dropped from the team. He's just they're just monitoring a injury niggle on him as well. So Morne van der Berg comes in. I spoke about this in my personal video where it feels like you can see the talent and the potential in Morne van der Berg. You kind of feel like it's Grant Williams and Kobus Reinach, and then just a little bit of a gap between them and the rest of the scrum offs. I feel Morne van den Berg can step into that. It's all just about actually stepping into that space where he's kind of on the same level as them. Do you see that potential in Morne van den Berg?
Yeah, definitely. Solid scrum off. We saw him with the Lions. He's been given chances. Uh, I keep on referencing the day we went to go to the pub and watch the game. He was starting. I think he scored 2 tries that day.
Mm.
Um, Great player, but when it comes to scrum off, it's tricky because we get these new waves of talent each year. We saw Hashim Peed in the Under 20 World Cup. We've seen so many different types of styles of scrum off. I mean, if you look at Reinach and Grant's game, it's totally opposites. So
Yeah.
for him, he brings a bit of both. And do I see him getting more game time after this game? Maybe not. But I'm hoping that he gets some good game time and hopefully, stamps some authority in that position and pushes the other guys to keep on evolving their game and doing better.
Yeah. Um, Marnie Lubbock, did you reckon we might see a start from him with the way that he played when he replaced Sasha? Or do you think it's probably fair to give Sasha that start, seeing that he had a shortened game um, the previous time he came onto the field?
Yeah, I think it's crucial for Rassi to keep all these fly-offs happy. I saw a post the other day, a guy talking about we don't really have a first choice fly-off. We have three first choice fly-offs. On any given day, we can play a different fly-off and they can be world-class. So I'm sure Rassi will select a fly off for a type of game that he wants to play. Sasha getting, HIA is unfortunate, but him getting another opportunity is kudos to Rassi for, not just dropping him just because Marnie had an exceptional game. They're two players with great abilities that bring slightly different things to the Bok team. So I don't think Marnie is too hard done by in this after having a stellar performance against New Zealand. I think he'll come off the bench and he'll do what Marnie does. Um, I just hope we have a good foundation when he does come off the bench, so that he can, really bring out our attacking flair.
Yeah, and then finally you've got Andre Esterhuizen, who we spoke about earlier, kind of the utility back that can slot in anywhere, and he's been brilliant every time that he's been on the field. Um, he's just been absolutely outstanding. I thought we might get a start from him this weekend, and then Damien Delinda at Twickenham, um, but no, still happy just to see him in the squad. Final question before we round it off. I just want to ask you, what do you think the game plan will be? Do you think we'll go similar high paced game like we did against the All Blacks, chasing after that bonus points? Because obviously we're sitting in this situation where literally every single point matters, and what happens in the New Zealand Australia game, matters as well, or do you think we'll just see it as do our job, get the 4 points, and then move on?
Well, I'm hoping we can get as much points as we need to apply pressure in this rugby championship. It's coming down to this weekend's games to understand exactly what we need to do in that final game. So I'm hoping we go, balls to the wall, apply pressure. But like I said, fundamentals come first. We're playing in Durban. We don't have the best record, that stadium. So I'm hoping we can get the fundamentals right, be super physical. In Durban, the ball it's humid. You can expect a couple, unforced errors from the boys, but that's just a given. So, yeah, get the set piece right. Make sure we defensively sound, and then after that, allow Sasha and Marnie to do their thing and bring the boys home to a good victory.
Yeah. And that wraps it up. People, if you do like just talking about shit when it comes to rugby, like we basically just did, please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. We do appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time. Ciao.